Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to all. I'm exceptionally honored to have the opportunity to address such a distinguished audience of the World Marketing Summit. I am Tina Asatiani, CEO of Palitrail Publishing based in Georgia. And despite this complex, uncertain and disruptive world, I consider myself to be a happy and fulfilled person. Every day I wake up with the overwhelming feeling of satisfaction. Well, maybe not every day, but the point is, together with my trustworthy team, I continue to serve our just cause. We create a better world through literature, book by book. Today I'm here to talk about the 3 success stories our publishing house achieved against all the odds and nagging we received at the inception and implementation stages. We managed to overcome all the obstacles only because we truly believed in our cause. Before I deep dive, let me give you a quick context regarding Georgia. I come from a country at the intersection of Europe and Asia, home to Caucasus mountain villages, Black Sea beaches, and a nation that uses one of the 14 unique alphabets in the world. Over many centuries, Georgia was the object of rivalry between Persia, Turkey, and Russia, before being eventually annexed by Russia in the 19th century. The Soviets actively tried to quash our spirits and literacy. Since emerging from the collapsing Soviet Union as an independent state in 1991, Georgia has again begun to rebuild itself. With only 3.7 million population, Georgia managed to preserve the Georgian language, but the hardships, among countless other things, undermined the habit of purchasing books in Georgia. When I joined Palitrail Media Holding as a creative projects manager back in 2010, the situation related to book sales was dire. There was no official market research. Few translations were published in that period. The book business was not attractive except for school textbooks, which was the main source of income for our competitors. The average circulation of fiction books was 500 copies only. But with the right team, the right approach, and the right vision, a just cause, in other words, we turned around the situation and started reviving the book purchasing habits of the population. As an intangible reward, after only 8 months, I have been promoted to head Palitrail Publishing thanks to the successful implementation of the first project. And I have enjoyed overseeing countless other amazing initiatives for the past 13 years since then. Now that you have the context, I will quickly walk you through our first success my team obtained on the road to crafting a just cause for the publishing house. We were well aware of the BBC TV channel's Big Read, the project to search for the nation's best beloved 50 novels. Our initiative was to find out Georgia's top 50 novels and make a real library with chosen books. We called our project 50 Books You Must Read While You Live to reinforce positivity, and we actively started promoting in 2010. We reached out to not only our regular book lovers, but potential readers as well, and through many channels asked them to fill out our questionnaire and name a book that made a special impression on them. We emphasized on the fact that this would be Georgia's chosen top 50 books, and it would include the works of both world and Georgian classics. We regularly publish updates on the interim poll results and the overall progress of the project. The title suggestions not only started pouring in, but people actively engaged in the campaign and began lobbying for their favorite books on multiple media channels, and encouraged their friends and family members to also vote when they would see their top choice wasn't polling high. Social media and forums turned into an intelligence theater of war without any exaggeration. The final formed list reflected the taste and literacy of Georgia's current period. Since people felt ownership of this volume of 50 books we published, it resulted in unprecedented sales. We made sure the price points for the books were affordable. We went unthinkably bold and printed 15,000 copies of the first book instead of the industry average of 500 copies. Everyone called us crazy, and they thought we would never get rid of this stock. Yet our strategy enabled us to price books of approximately 400 pages in hardcover, binding with super and with gold foil for only 7 Georgian lari, equaling to about $4 at the time. The volume books were made available throughout Georgia using direct retail and wholesale channels such as press booths and bookstores, carried together with Kviris Palitra, the most widely distributed weekly newspaper in Georgia. This allowed us to reach people living in the most mountainous regions as well. Once every 2 weeks, this newspaper was accompanied by one winning book from the series of 50 books. The catch was that you could only buy this book for 7 lari during that 1 week. Afterwards, it would be sold for double the price in the bookstores. We sent all the copies of the first book together with the newspaper, and already on day 1, the calls to the publishing house as well as the newspaper's editorial office began pouring in, looking for the first book of the series. It sold out completely. After assessing the live demand, we increased the number of copies for each volume of the series to 50,000. And for 3 years, the project ran with great success. Over 80,000 people had taken part in it. It is noteworthy that Georgians over the centuries used to take a lot of pride in having a home library, and it was directly associated with high standing and respectability of a person. During the Soviet Union and post-breakup, the citizens no longer had the ability nor desire to worry about purchasing books. When we were assessing the sales of the initiative, we noticed a very promising trend. Parents started purchasing several copies of the same book from our volumes to make sure each of their children would have their own copy as a dowry. We are very proud to have had a small share in returning the readers to the books. The second initiative I wanted to bring your attention to is called the Libertines for the Georgian Young Adult Group. In other words, this project is all about how our teenagers started actively reading in Georgia. In 2014, once Palitra decided to publish literature in this category, we gathered a rotational group of teenagers who read international contemporary YA books in the original language and asked them for recommendations on which titles would be a must-read for their generation. We had not anticipated such a humongous engagement from the teens. They wore it as a badge of honor to be in this advisory alliance, and the teens fought over which books to be included in the list for publishing. And what was very heartwarming is that this fight was full of argumentative reasoning, a true battle of the minds. The youngsters debated marvelously. We published the first book of the series, James Dashner's Maze Runner, in December 2014. At that time, there was very little choice of modern book translations for teenagers, and interest in our project was quite elevated. The presentation of the book was held at the Biblusi bookstore, and we had pre-announced that the world's bestseller book would be available for 3 lari for only 1 hour at the event. So many teenagers came to the presentation that Bakhtarioni Street, which is one of the central and main streets in Tbilisi, had to be blocked off, and the police helped us regulate the giant queue outside. To cordially thank our regular readers and to show our deep appreciation, we held a live Libertines concert and a lottery at the Sports Palace for our teenagers in 2017. It was, without any overestimation, the first large-scale gathering for teenagers all over Georgia. The event included a concert of loudspeakers, a band beloved by teenagers, and the raffle prizes we gave away featured bicycles, notebooks, cameras, and a trip to Disneyland. More than 10,000 people attended this event. In May 2018, we also surprised our young readers at the Tbilisi International Book Fair by hosting a legendary YA bestseller author, Holly Smale. Our Libertines played a huge role in this as well. They literally bombarded Holly's Instagram page, recorded video messages, and sent letters asking her to come and meet the Georgian readers. Thousands of teenagers attended the presentation of her book, Geek Girl, at the festival. Holly's visit to Tbilisi not only got a huge free media coverage, but the British author's Instagram posts dedicated to Georgia and to our hospitality gave utter positive exposure to the country and our favorite Libertines. The third initiative on the road to success I'm particularly proud of is Blue Ocean. Since 2015, Blue Ocean has remained to be the only project in Georgia focused on publishing worldwide best-selling and profound books on leadership, management, self-development, motivation. It still plays an important role in supporting and promoting business education in the country. Each and every book published by Blue Ocean helps the readers develop, improve the skills that are crucial for achieving success in the 21st century. The first book of the initiative was Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog, and we published it in June 2015, and the first edition of 3,000 copies sold out in a few months. This motivated us to pursue publishing books in this genre. Subsequently, we published Blue Ocean Strategy by Renee Moborn and W. Chan Kim. After all, the idea for the title of the series came from this book. Through this project, we published such important world think tanks as Daniel Kahneman, Daniel Goleman, Simon Sinek, Jordan Peterson, Adam Grant, and others. Our recent project is a book series of AI books, which is a joint project of Blue Ocean and the University of Business and Technology in Georgia. And it involves the processing of text generated by artificial intelligence and the publication of bilingual books. The goal of the project is to provide readers with access to the latest information in the super rapidly changing environment of business and technology. We stepped into a new era of information retrieval and processing using artificial intelligence resources. And with the help of professional consultants and our editorial team, this latest information is being transferred into books in the shortest possible lead time. In the last decade, the World Marketing Summit has successfully built a foundation that drives social movements, reflecting heavily through human wisdom. I wanted to express my fascination with having David Acker and Marshall Goldsmith among the brilliant minds as the co-speakers of the summit. We have published Mr. Acker's famous manual on strategic market management past September, and Mr. Goldsmith's What Got You Here Won't Get You There back in 2017 through the Blue Ocean Initiative. Just like Mr. Goldsmith, I too believe that helping people be right is so much more productive than proving them wrong. My talented team has been thriving since I started consciously using this approach in my quotidian management. At the beginning of the speech, I mentioned a just cause, a vision for us to create a better world through literature, book by book. My team knows that while Google and other AI-related tools may give people knowledge, books give them wisdom and the ability to think for themselves. And original thinking is that wonderful mental process that produces innovation and invention. With our initiatives, we aid our community to become book lovers and exercise their minds to give way to creative thinking. With this final note, I have concluded sharing Georgia insights with a distinguished audience. I cordially thank you all for joining me in this journey, and I wish you all the great rest of the summit.